Yesterday was officially the first day of summer, so I figured it was the perfect time for another summer treat. You guys seem to really enjoy my vegan ice cream, my frozen summer treats, and my summer popsicles episodes, so I thought it was time for another one. Sorbet. I am not only showing you 3 different flavors, I am also going to show you 3 different ways you can make sorbet, none of which require an ice cream machine, so you can choose the way that works best for you. Thumbs up for multiple methods. The only ingredient you need for sorbet is fruit. So what do you do with it? Let's start with my blueberry sorbet. This one is the easiest method, and all you need is your frozen blueberries or frozen fruit of choice. All of these recipes can be made with any fruit that you prefer. Add your blueberries to a blender or processor and let it run. You'll want to scrape down the sides a few times to make sure it's blending nicely. Pour your sorbet mix into a mixing bowl and stir it on up. You can eat this as is or transfer to the freezer for another quick 20 to 30 minutes to firm it up and then enjoy. This is definitely the easiest way to make your sorbet and it is delicious, but in my opinion there are a few other ways that get you the texture that is even more truly sorbet-y. Next up, my mango pineapple sorbet. This is my favorite one. So you can also combine your favorite fruits to have delicious flavors. We are going to start with fresh pineapple and mango instead of frozen. I love how fresh summer fruit can be and I wanted to take advantage of that. Pour your fresh fruit into a blender or processor and let it run until it is a completely smooth and super silky texture. But since the fruit was not frozen, this is definitely not a sorbet yet. This method is really like an I am an ice cream machine method because that's pretty much what you're doing. Transfer to the freezer and every 30 to 45 minutes you're going to want to take it out and give it a stir. That's what the machine does. It keeps the mixture moving so that it doesn't get solid, and that's pretty much what you're doing here. After a few stirs, you'll see it finally start to freeze up until you've got that beautiful sorbet consistency. So that was easy too, right? It requires a little bit more attention and time, but it's still not hard. Well, I've got one more sorbet recipe and one more method that requires even less time. My strawberry basil sorbet. I wanted to show you that you can really get creative with your flavors and add in your favorite herbs and spices too. Comment below and let me know some of your favorite combinations. You are going to start with some fresh basil leaves and fresh cut strawberries, not frozen. Put your strawberries and your basil into your food processor or blender and blend it on up. Now for any of these recipes, if your fruit is naturally sweet, you may not need to add any sweetener at all, but if your fruit is a little bit underripe or tangy, you might want to add sweetener, so always taste it. For this method, you are going to start with a baking sheet that has been lined with parchment paper and pour your sorbet mixture onto that sheet until it is nice and even. Tap those air bubbles out and transfer it to the freezer for 2 to 3 hours. It is going to freeze more quickly than the previous method because it is a shallower container. Once frozen, remove it from the freezer and break it into smaller chunks. Just small enough that it will fit into the blender. Transfer your icy sorbet pieces into the blender or food processor. Now you may have to use a spatula or a plunger to get this one going, but trust me, it is worth it. Once blended, transfer to a large mixing bowl. Look at that perfect creamy sorbet texture. Serve immediately, or if it's softened up a bit from working with it, you can return it to the freezer for another quick 20 to 30 minutes before devouring. This method does take the most steps, but I personally think it yields the nicest sorbet texture. Still, all 3 methods will work and all are very easy. I hope you found this episode useful. In the PDF download for today, I have included some additional flavor combination options for you to give a whirl. Are you stoked for an amazing summer? I will see you tomorrow for a new Summer Sips, and remember, it's all a matter of mind over munch. Transfer your icy sorbet piece. Am I saying it right? Transfer your icy sorbet pieces into the blender or food processor. Did I say fruit? Transfer your icy sorbet pieces into the food processor or blender. I started to laugh. Transfer your icy